Welcome to Savvy Cents. My name is Emily and we love to empower other moms to become savvy savers. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing how I set up my family's 2022 budget for the year. Make sure to stick around for the end of the video where I will share how you can look at your budget throughout the whole entire year and make tweaks and changes so that you can see your bottom line savings. Also, next week, Cassie is releasing a video on how she budgets for the year as well. We hope that our two different perspectives and the two different ways that we budget will add value to your life and help you find success with budgeting. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Let's get started. The first step in setting your 2022 budget is going to be to list out your income. And I just grabbed a piece of paper. I like to get it down on paper first, and then I'm going to put it into Google Sheets. And so for purposes of this budget, I'm doing an income of $6,500. Now this is going to be after anything is taken out, like 401k contributions, insurance, or any other type of things that are taken out of your paycheck. This is what's going to be the number that hits your bank account every month. And for our family, we also receive a child tax credit, which I include in our income, and I'm going to use $400 for that. So you also want to make sure you include any side hustles or any other source of income that you have that's coming in every month. So my total income is going to be $6,900, and that's going to be the first step. The second step is to list out any expenses that you have coming in. And I like to start with my fixed expenses first and then move to my variable. My fixed being that we pay the same every single month. The first one is going to be our mortgage, which is $1,855. Now I do want to say, as I'm listing these things off, gardener, it's $50. They come every other month. Now these amounts are not exactly what our family budgets for. Just to respect privacy, what I did was I took percentages of what we spend against the income. So although this isn't the exact amount that our family budgets for each month, it's the same proportion against this income amount. So what our income is, if I were to move it to what our income is, this would move up by the same amount because it's all proportioned out according to what we spend as a family. Okay, life insurance, that is $50 a month. And so I'm just moving through all of my fixed expenses. And that's $30 a month. I just add them all together. I don't keep them as separate line items. We have a preschooler, so we pay for that each month. That never changes. And so now I'm on to my variable expenses, which are things that change based on the weather. Like for example, the next one is electricity. If we, use our heater more or our air conditioning more in the summer, that's going to fluctuate. Same with water and sewer. But we budget for this based on an average over the whole year. Clothing is $80. And I also want to add that we have a family of 6. So there might be categories in here that you personally don't need or use, and that's fine. You just need to find out what you spend each month. You need to just figure out the categories that you do need each month and include those in your budget or take out ones that you don't need. And so really this is just an exercise to get organized and figure out where you're spending your money and make sure it's all included in here. It's hard to spell for me. Spelling's hard. All right, $90 for entertainment, and then third to last but not least is our grocery budget, which is $770. Home supplies. Now this budget is used mostly for if we need, we're doing a project in the garage and we need to get some screws and tape, something like that would come out of our home supplies budget. And we have gas, which is $200. Okay, so I won't bore you with having to add up all of those, but the total is going to be $5,290. So as you can see, this $5,290 is less than the $6,900. Now, step 2 is to list all of your expenses. Step 3 is to list all of your savings and sinking fund accounts. If you're in debt, you can use this portion of your budget to figure out what your debt payments are going to go right here, but I'm just going to show you what our family does. So again, I start with my savings and sinking funds, I start with my fixed expenses first. That's going to be our car and property insurance. That's $110 per month. Car registration, $25. College fund for the kids, $480. And then I'm going to move on to our variable expenses, which kind of ebb and flow based on our spending, but I still set the money aside for it when the time comes. We have Christmas and birthdays. Oh, I'm running out of room on my paper. That's okay. This is more just to get organized and make sure I have everything included in my budget. Home improvement is $295 a month. I have vacation, and that's $175. All right, the total of these is $1,180. Okay, so if I add up these two, essentially I want them to equal my total. So I'm gonna do that really quick. So I'm gonna pull up my daughter's nifty calculator here, and I'm gonna add it in. All right, the total is $6,470 as of right now. So that's not, our income is $6,090. And so these two are not equaling. But I'm gonna just pause right here for now, and we are gonna figure this out in a few steps. And I'll show you kind of the process that I do to make these equal each other. Now I'm gonna hop over to my spreadsheet where I'm gonna have all this entered in, and I'm gonna show you the next step, which is how I adjust my budget to make it fit with my upcoming year. Here is my budget in the spreadsheet. So as you can see, I have my income, and then I have all my expenses listed below just as they were on paper. And then below that, I have all my sinking funds and savings. And then one thing to note is in the summary, I take my total income, subtract out my expenses and sinking funds, and we are left with $430 to work with when planning our 2022 budget. The next step I like to do is I like to take an average of my spending for the areas in which I overspend the most on. And so for me, the 4 categories that I overspend the most is restaurants, miscellaneous, groceries, and gas. And so for me, I'm taking a 4-month average. Ideally, I would like to be taking a 12-month average, but our family moved over the summer, and so August through November is the most accurate representation of our lifestyle here now, and so I only took a 4-month average. The budget column is what I budgeted in 2021 for these items. Then I can compare those to the averages that I spent at the very last column, column J. Just to give an example, my grocery budget is $770. Well, in October and November, you can see that I overspent by quite a bit. And that was partially because we had birthdays and holidays, and so it really drove up the average, but it's also a more accurate representation of what my family will be spending. And so I'm going to increase that in my budget. I'm gonna head over to my budget and start taking these averages that I've come up with and implementing them going forward into my 2022 budget. So the first one is restaurants, and so I'm gonna budget over $95, obviously, because I spend that on a regular basis. But for restaurants, I'm gonna do $110. The next one is miscellaneous, which I budgeted to $44, but I spend close to $290, and so I'm going to definitely change that. And I'm gonna do $270 just to be slightly conservative on that one, so that I kind of have something to aim for. And the next one is groceries, which my real average would be $850. And I'm actually gonna change that to $850 on the dot, because I think our family will definitely need that a little extra this coming year, especially with the rising prices of groceries. And the last one is gas, which I'm gonna put a hold on because of something we just purchased as a family that will actually decrease our gas budget. So now I have those average amounts built into those 3 budgeting categories. The next step is to just make adjustments based on my future spending. And so like I said before, our family just purchased an electric car, and so our gas bill will actually be going down quite a bit because I can run most of my errands in that car. And so I'm going to be decreasing the gas amount to $150 a month instead of $200, only because we have only had it for a month, and so I don't want to decrease it by too much. But by decreasing our gas bill, our electric bill will go up by an amount as well, because we're going to be plugging our car in. So now I need to adjust our electricity to make sure I account for that increased amount. So I'm going to increase that to $230 a month. So I don't know, might have to adjust those numbers going forward because we just bought the car, but that will be something I can do later on. The next one is going to be entertainment. So I rarely remember to categorize something as entertainment. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that category, and I am going to just bundle that $90 into my miscellaneous budget. So that way I just account for things a little bit better. All right, so that's going to become $360, and I'm going to delete that row. Those were the biggest adjustments I wanted to make. I've really looked through these numbers and made sure that my categories are in the correct spending. And now I can see that I still have $275 left over to budget with. Now, one thing that I don't have in my budget from 2021 that I find that we spend a lot of money on that I never have been good at planning for is my children's extracurricular. So I'm going to start a sinking fund for that, where I'm going to set aside money every month so that when I want to sign them up for something, I can put that money aside and do that. I'm going to set aside $200 each month for that, and I still have $75 left. And we really need to make a lot of improvements on our home, and so I'm going to take that $75 and add that to my home improvement sinking fund, just to give that a little bit more of a buffer and a little bit more money to spend when we need to on things to update our home, which, you know, our home is 50 years old, so there's always things that are breaking or things that we need to fix, and so that'll be really helpful. All right, we have a zero-based budget. Everything, when you subtract our income minus all of our expenses and savings, it is zero. So that is a win. Okay, this last step is something that is so powerful, and I cannot wait to show you. So basically what this is called, I call this my yearly planner. And all it is a carbon copy of what we just did for my budget. So it starts with the income, then I go through my expenses, then my savings and my sinking funds, and then the summary, which basically makes sure that I have a zero-based budget. So it's the same exact view here. As you can see, I have my income, my expenses, sinking funds, and then I have my zero-based budget. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy everything over for the rest of the year. Now, for some reason, my copy and paste was not working, so let me see if that worked. There we go. So it's really just like copying over for the whole year. I know it's gonna be a lot of numbers to look at. Just hang in there. I promise this will be worth it. Okay, so basically it's just, this is what my budget is for each and every month of the year. Now, we also know that like life is full of ebb and flows, so this is like where the real power of the spreadsheet comes. So once you've copied all of that over, you can scroll down and see that you have your zero-based budget in there, so all of your dollars are assigned every month. You can see that total sinking fund savings for the year is $17,460. So right now I have a total year savings of zero because all of those dollars are anticipated to get spent. But the power of the spreadsheet, for example, preschool is something that's only going to be expensed for me through May, and so June going forward, I'm going to zero that out because I don't have preschool anymore. And then I can see what it does to my bottom line. I can see that that's going to be a savings of almost $2,000 by not having preschool. Now let's give a few other examples. Let's say you're expecting a bonus in April of, let's say your bonus is going to be $1,500. And then you can kind of scroll down and you can see again what it does to your bottom line. Questions you might want to ask yourself: if there's going to be any major life events this year that are going to cost you extra money that you're not thinking about in your monthly budget because it's not part of your monthly budget. Like if you have a medical procedure coming up, or you have a child graduating and you're going to have a party for them, or things like that will affect your bottom line, you can tweak and put into this spreadsheet and see how it's going to affect your savings. Or if you have 2 cars and you want to move down to 1 car, you can schedule and to sell it and see what that does to your bottom line. It's really, really powerful to see. Or you might want to do a big home improvement project and you want to make sure you have enough money for that at the end of the year. This is a great tool to use to make sure you have enough money. It's also really eye-opening to see what your total spending is in each of your categories. So, you know, I look here at, for example, clothing, you know, $1,000 a year for clothing. That seems pretty healthy to me. It seems pretty, you know, right on. Miscellaneous seems high, but maybe that's good. It's just eye-opening to see what you're spending on all of your categories for the whole year. And then you can kind of play with the numbers and see what really is going to be worthwhile for you to see where your bottom line is at the end of the year. I hope you found this video helpful, that you're able to plan your budget and have all the tools that you need to do that as well. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget that I'll have that yearly planner in the show notes below. So if you would like a copy of that, it will be there for you to download, and I'll put download instructions as well. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe for weekly videos that can help you with budgeting and saving money. We love that you're a part of our community. Perspectives on budgeting where we can still find success. No. We hope you find value yet being able to, okay.